Things are happening in Kenya way too fast, politically. I know there are some of us who may want to shoot back. Chris, what are you talking about? We're not seeing anything in the news. It's very quiet right now. Yes, I know there are those of you who may have this view. However, the truth is that maybe all these major things that are happening, maybe most of us have not taken note of them. And some of them, maybe even we are not aware of them. Let me point out a few. By the way, on my show today, I'll also be focusing on the latest developments in the very unfortunate and sad case of Rita Waeni Muendo. Yeah, there's a very explosive new development which I will be discussing, which tells us a lot, in my opinion, and reveals way too much more than what the perpetrators may have wanted us to know. But we'll come back to that after we're through with the politics. Number 1, Anne Waiguru, governor of Kirinyaga, a very close buddy of President Ruto and the UDA gang. Somebody who was once considered to be in the inner circle comes out and tells us that Kenya is on the verge of bankruptcy, that the economy is being run by the IMF, and that we should expect shocks in our lives very shortly. Now, of course, that information is not unique. It is in the public domain. Those of us who are alert are very much aware of that information. The issue here is the person talking to us about it. This was a person who just the other day was a firm defender and supporter of the UDA administration. Number 2, Amason Kingi's party, PA, seems to be on its deathbed, as Raila Odinga the Coast receives scores of defectors, or rather party members, coming back to ODM, who had gone to form PA. And many of these people are from the party leader's village. Amason Kingi, former governor of Kilifi, they are from his village. Some of them are his relatives. And therefore, one cannot help but suspect that they had the blessings of Amason Kingi, who is the Speaker of the Senate currently, and is there courtesy of the UDA Kenya Kwanza government. Now, under normal circumstances, Bwana Kingi would be very scared over these developments. He would fear that it would cause him to lose the support of the government and therefore lose his speaker's seat very quickly. But Bwana Kingi is not worried. In fact, there are those who are saying he is warming up to ODM, chini ya maji. Number 3, Boni Khalwale, Senator Kakamega, has completely changed tune. He is now openly criticizing the UDA government. He is talking the language of his people on the ground. This is not definitely the same Khalwale who just a few months ago was terrified of stepping on the wrong powerful toes. This is a different Khalwale. This is the old Khalwale back, outspoken. He doesn't care what the consequences of what he's saying are. Number 4 is a real shocker. There are some people in the Mount Kenya region who are already looking for their party for the 2027 general elections. They're fishing around. Now, what really got my attention is what they are saying. You will not believe it. I too had a problem believing it. But looking at what is happening on the ground, I knew it was true even before I confirmed and did my due diligence. They are saying anybody who is not pro Uhuru Kenyatta, on Uhuru Kenyatta's side, and taking instructions from Uhuru Kenyatta, has no political future whatsoever in the Mount Kenya region. In other words, the wave right now in the Mount Kenya region, which if nothing dramatic happens, will be the wave in the Mount Kenya region in 2027, is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the 4th President of the Republic of Kenya, retired. Now, regulars on this channel will already know that I hate talking about 2027, because politically 2027 is decades away politically. Therefore, let us talk about now, the effect it is going to have right now on Mount Kenya politics. In my opinion, this is very, very bad news for William Ruto. I have tried, but I have been completely unable to put this in any better way than it was put by Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni in a recent talk show. So let me quote him verbatim. Bwana Kioni said, Mount Kenya did not participate in the maandamano. It is possible they may not participate in any upcoming maandamano. He doesn't know. But what Bwana Kioni is very, very sure of, it is Mount Kenya who will remove Ruto from the presidency. And I have to agree, because that is precisely what happened during Kenya's second liberation. When Mount Kenya joined in the Moi Must Go chorus, it was game shot. It was the end of the road for Kanu. And let me remind you, the very same thing happened in Kenya's first liberation. And therefore I totally agree with Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni of Jubilee. So, do you want to tell me that there's nothing happening in Kenyan politics? Do you want to tell me there's nothing happening? Do you want to tell me that things are very quiet? I have not even mentioned Raila Odinga's very spirited, aggressive campaign of registering ODM members countrywide is receiving defectors every day. Defectors from UDA, defectors from Kenya Kwanza. I've not even mentioned that. I have not even mentioned what is happening with the Law Society of Kenya. And the meeting which took place today at State House between Chief Justice Martha Koome and William Ruto, the President. I have not even gone there. And you want to convince me there's nothing happening? There is too much happening. But what has really drawn my attention is the behavior of leading politicians within UDA. Yani, these people are preparing. They are preparing to jump ship. And some have already jumped ship. But hold on a minute, I can put it better than that. Not really jump ship. They're desperately looking for lifeboats. Yes, the ship is still afloat, barely, but people are so busy looking for lifeboats to jump into, or looking for lifeboats to put close to themselves, so that when things start happening, they will quickly jump and end up with a soft landing. And there's plenty of evidence to prove what I've just said, as controversial and as shocking as it is. And it is very closely linked to the sponsors of the show today, which is my weekly intelligence briefings. In the next few hours, my double release of weekly intelligence briefing number 117 and 118 will hit the inboxes of those who have subscribed. Number 117 focuses, apart from the story of people looking for lifeboats, focuses on the cabinet secretary resignations. You heard me right. A handful of cabinet secretaries in the Ruto administration have been trying to resign. Why? And who are these cabinet secretaries? What is their motive? Why do they want to resign from a plum job with benefits, lot of money? What is going on? Details in my weekly intelligence briefings number 117. In weekly intelligence briefings number 118, I focus on the ongoing controversy that has blown the minds of Kenyans, the Rita Waeni Muendo case. Now, there's a recent development. There is a recent development that I focus on. Kichwa ilipatikana. Okay? And the circumstances around that finding tells us a lot and points us very directly to who the killers may have been. Now, obviously, you don't want to miss WB number 117 and 118. I have another double release coming up in a few days. But right now, you don't want to miss these two. And I have a special offer. In case you're not yet a subscriber, for only $19 or Kenya shillings 2,999 only, you can get 1 full year subscription to my weekly intelligence briefings. You can see details on your screens right now. But in case you only want 1 weekly intelligence briefings, maybe you're only interested in number 118 or maybe in only 117, you have a unique opportunity. For only $15.95, you'll be able to get 1 weekly intelligence briefings, and it can even be an older one, like the classic one that has now been proven with the passage of time how exactly the former president of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli, was assassinated. It was very high tech. Anyway, if you just want 1 edition, that is the cost. Details are on your screen. But also what you need to do, payment details are also there. And so if you're not yet a subscriber, take action right away. Now, in case you're interested in sponsoring one of our videos, it's very easy. You can see details on your screens right now. And we even have an opportunity now, for those with budgetary constraints, to take up the offer of being a co-sponsor. A co-sponsor means that you're sponsoring a video with somebody else. You don't appear alone. You're not acknowledged alone. And only for $61, you can be able to do this. We reach a very unique audience, which many of you have already taken advantage of. You can see all the details on your screens right now. Now, usually, in an investigation like this one of Rita Waeni Muendo, the first 72 hours are critical. And at the start of these manenos, investigators had a huge advantage because the crime was discovered only a few hours after it was committed. Therefore, they were off to a great start. But it seems something happened. Okay? Yes, suspects have been arrested, but there's some telltale signs which suggest that the investigation may have slowed down. Now, why would this happen? If this is truly the case, why would something like this happen over such a terrible crime? Now, in case you didn't know, Not all investigations are the same. And this applies all over the world. Oh yes. You know, as an investigator, you have a boss who directs you. And even your boss has other bosses who direct them. And the result is, something may start looking very obvious. A case may start and you may want to say to yourself, this is an open and shut case. This thing will be concluded very quickly. But then months later, you're puzzled and you start asking yourself questions. What happened here? I will give you the perfect example. Remember that name of that place in Kilifi? Shakahola. Imefika wapi? Ilienda wapi? Apart from Pastor Mackenzie, what else has happened? And we had so many things. We were told, for instance, that there were many people involved. And they were not small people. They were not people living in Kibra or Kangware or in Likoni in Mombasa. No. These were people living in Nyali, Muthaiga, etc., etc. Watu wazito. But then what happened? We have been here too many times even before Shakahola. Yeah. You've heard that famous phrase from officials. No stone will be left unturned. But then to this day, we don't know who murdered former Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. John Robert Ouko. We don't know. It's a mystery. What am I saying? I am saying that with investigations of this nature, you never know. Until they are concluded and you see people charged successfully, something very rare in Kenya. Until that happens, hey, you don't hold your breath. Now the latest development in Rita's case is that we have been told kichwa ilipatikana, together with other personal effects, the phone, etc., etc. And then there's another narrative that has emerged. We're now reading in the press that police suspect professional killers were involved. Now it would appear that those two pieces of information I've just given you contradict what I said in the earlier videos. Don't you think so? Well, actually, no. They reconfirm what I said in the very first video I did about this case. How so? Well, all the answers are in my explosive weekly intelligence briefings number 118. Now, believe me, this issue is more than sensitive. Why? Because of the people involved. Remember what I said? These are not Kibra people. They are not even Buruburu people. But what I can say here, it is very clear, more than clear, that there is a very spirited, persistent effort to make Kenyans think in another very different direction from the one they're thinking right now. Okay? And so you need to ask yourself, why? Why would people go to great lengths to lead others in the wrong direction? Why? Because, for instance, when you start telling us that muuaji alikuwa professional, then you need to ask the question, was the victim rich? Was her family rich and powerful? Of course not. So you see there's a contradiction there. It doesn't quite make sense. Nakwambia Kenya yetu. And my heart really goes out to the family of the late Rita Waeni and all those who knew her. I'm sure it will take them quite some time to recover from this shock. May Almighty God hold their hands and help them to recover from this terrible, terrible thing that happened in our beloved motherland. May this be fully exposed so that it does not happen again, and so that she did not pass on in vain. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.